Okay, let's dive right in. Right now, just off the coast of America, there's a tiny island nation that's on the verge of total collapse. And the reason why involves a secret worth, get this, over 1.5 quadrillion rupiah. So here's the big question, right? Why on earth is a global superpower like the US effectively strangling its tiny neighbor, Cuba? I mean, what could possibly justify something so extreme? On the surface, the official story just doesn't add up. And when I say collapsing, I mean the situation is absolutely dire. The US naval blockade is stopping everything from getting in. We're talking food, fuel, even critical medicine. And the result? Well, you get nationwide blackouts. Factories are completely shut down. People are literally starving because their entire country, which depends on imports, has been completely cut off from the world. So you gotta ask yourself, what's really going on here? The official explanations, they just feel like a cover story for something much, much bigger. Is it about their famous cigars? Or maybe their sugar? Nope, not even close. The real prize here is something way more strategic and unbelievably valuable. Okay, so officially, the US line is national security. You had Donald Trump, for instance, calling Cuba an unusual and extraordinary threat, claiming it was mixed up with Russia and Iran. But does that really hold water? I mean, let's just get real for a second, okay? Cuba, a military threat. They have no nukes, no aircraft carriers. They don't have any major missiles to speak of. So how exactly is this small, pretty poor nation a genuine threat to the biggest military power in the history of the world? It just doesn't make sense. All right, so if it's not a military thing, and it's definitely not about cigars, then what is it? Well, the truth is, it all comes down to something much bigger, something with financial stakes so high they are almost impossible to comprehend. And that brings us to the real prize, the secret that's literally buried underground in Cuba. We're talking about a resource that is absolutely critical if you want to be a global superpower in this century. Take a look at this number. 1,500 trillion rupiah. That's trillion with a T. That is the estimated value of what's hiding under Cuba. A treasure big enough to fund armies and build whole new industries from the ground up. And that treasure? It's nickel. Now, you might hear nickel and not think much of it, but no, this stuff is the absolute backbone of modern industry and technology. You need it for high-grade stainless steel, think military hardware. And maybe most importantly, you absolutely have to have it for the batteries that power the entire electric vehicle revolution. It's the key ingredient that gives an EV its range and performance, basically the holy grail for every car company on the planet. Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting. Look at this list of who has the most nickel. You see Cuba down there at number 5? Not bad. But hey, look who's sitting at number 1. That's right, Indonesia. Now, just tuck that little fact away for later, because it's going to be huge. But just as important is who's not on this list. See 'em, or rather don't see 'em? The USA and China. The two biggest users of nickel in the world, and they have basically none of their own. So what happens when the biggest players on the world stage desperately need something they don't have? Well, that resource turns into a giant geopolitical chess piece. Suddenly, controlling nickel isn't just about money. It's about power. It's about who's going to dominate the rest of this century. And the strategy here is actually super simple and kind of brutal. Step 1, control the nickel. Step 2, you now control all the high-tech steel and all the EV batteries. And step 3, you win. You win the economic race and you win the military race. It's that straightforward. And let's be crystal clear about the military stakes here. Last I checked, you can't build a fighter jet or an aircraft carrier out of bamboo. You need specialized stainless steel. And guess what? For that, you need nickel. This is literally about securing the building blocks for a next-generation military. So while the grand prize is global dominance, the immediate target is a lot more specific. It's China. This whole blockade, this whole situation, it's not just about the US getting the nickel. It's about playing defense. It's about stopping China from getting it. You see, China and Cuba are tight, like really tight. China is Cuba's biggest strategic partner. For years now, huge Chinese state-owned companies have been in Cuba, digging up all that valuable nickel. And for just as long, the US has been trying to break them up, slapping on sanctions, hitting them with massive fines, anything to get in between them. Okay, so you've got this huge fight happening thousands of miles away. What in the world does that have to do with us here in Indonesia? Well, everything. Because while they're fighting, it creates a golden opportunity for us, a chance for some serious kuan. I mean, just think about it for a second. The two biggest superpowers on the planet are basically going to war over the world's fifth largest nickel reserve, the leftovers. So what does that mean for the country that's sitting on the #1 spot? It means we're in the driver's seat. And this chart, wow, it just says it all. Look at this. In 2023, Indonesia cranked out 1.7 million tons of nickel. Now look at second place. The Philippines, way, way down at 365,000. It's not even a competition. We are, without a doubt, the undisputed king of nickel production. And that kind of dominance, it translates directly into cash. A lot of it. Last year alone, and this was a year when nickel prices were actually considered kind of low, our nickel exports were worth 650 times trillion rupiah. This isn't just an industry, it's a national financial powerhouse. So here's the bottom line, the big takeaway from all of this. The more the US and China fight over every scrap of nickel they can find, the more powerful Indonesia becomes. The value of what we have right under our feet goes up and up. And this isn't just about the money. It's about leverage. It's about having a real seat at the table, a real say in how the world's future is going to be built. Which all leads to one final, massive question. The world is starving for nickel, and we're sitting on a feast. So what's our next move? Are we just going to sell them the raw dirt? Or are we going to build the whole thing? The mines, the factories, the batteries, the cars, right here at home? The answer to that question isn't just about business. It will define our place in the world for decades to come.